Ngozi was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. From the moment she took her first breath, life had been easy. Too easy. Her family lived in one of those big houses in Victoria Island, the kind that made people slow down their cars just to look. The walls were painted fresh every year. The compound was spacious, and the gate was always polished until it shone. Inside that house, Ngozi never lifted a finger. She didn't know how to boil water. She couldn't sweep. Making her bed was a foreign concept. Why would she? There were 3 housemaids who did everything. If she wanted anything, water, food, her school bag, she simply called out, and someone came running. "Where's my breakfast?" She would snap at 7 a.m., still in her nightgown. "Coming, madam." The maid would answer, hurrying to the kitchen. Ngozi was only 16, still in secondary school, but she carried herself like a Lagos big madam. Her voice was sharp. Her commands were clear. Even the gateman feared her temper. When she was angry, the whole house knew it. At Government College, one of Lagos's best secondary schools, Ngozi was known for all the wrong reasons. She strolled into class late every single day, earphones in, attitude high. Teachers tried to discipline her, but her father, Chief Adikanal, always intervened. One phone call from him, and suddenly the punishment vanished. "Sir, I forgot my homework," she'd say with a careless shrug. Her grades were terrible, but she didn't care. "My father has money," she told her classmates once. "I don't need to suffer." At home, Chief and Mrs. Adikanal watched their daughter with growing concern. Chief Adikanal was a successful businessman, respected everywhere he went. Mrs. Adikanal was a lawyer, known for her wisdom and grace. In church, they were pillars of the community. But at home, they were losing their daughter to pride and laziness. "Ngozi, your behavior is becoming too much," Mrs. Adikanal said one evening. Ngozi didn't even look up from her phone. "Mummy, you worry too much." "I'm fine." Those words cut deep. One Saturday afternoon, Mrs. Adikanal's friend came to visit. Ngozi walked into the sitting room and saw the woman sitting in her chair. "Auntie, why are you sitting there?" Ngozi said rudely. The room went silent. The woman's mouth fell open. Chief Adikanal stood up immediately, his face dark with anger. "Ngozi." "What?" Ngozi snapped back. "I'm just asking a question." The woman left shortly after, embarrassed. That night, Chief and Mrs. Adikanal stayed up until 3 a.m., talking in low, worried voices. "We have spoiled this child," Mrs. Adikanal said, tears in her eyes. "We need to do something drastic," Chief Adikanal replied, "before it's too late." The solution came to them slowly, painfully. Boarding school. Not just any boarding school, a strict one. Far from Lagos. Far from comfort. "She will hate us," Mrs. Adikanal whispered. "But maybe she will change," Chief Adikanal said. "And if we don't try, we've already lost her." That night, while Ngozi slept peacefully in her air-conditioned room, her parents made a decision that would change everything. The next morning, Ngozi woke up around 10 a.m., stretching lazily. She picked up her phone first, scrolling through Instagram while still in bed. Downstairs, her parents waited at the dining table, nervous. "Ngozi, come down," her father called. "I'm coming," she shouted back, taking her time. When she finally appeared, she noticed their serious faces, but didn't think much of it. Her father cleared his throat. "Sit down. We need to talk." Ngozi sat, already bored. "What is it? Did someone die?" "Next month, you go to boarding school," Chief Adikanal said quietly. Ngozi burst out laughing. "Daddy, stop playing. You're not serious." "We are very serious," Mrs. Adikanal said. "We've already registered you." The smile died on Ngozi's face. "Boarding school? Me? Never." "It's already decided," her father said firmly. "This is because of that stupid woman yesterday, ABI?" Ngozi shouted, standing up. "You people want to punish me for nothing." "This is not punishment," Mrs. Adikanal said, her voice breaking. "We're trying to save you." "Save me from what?" "Having a good life." Ngozi screamed. Tears of rage filled her eyes. "I hate both of you." She ran upstairs and slammed her door so hard the pictures on the wall shook. Inside her room, she threw pillows, kicked her wardrobe, and cried until her throat hurt. Her parents sat downstairs in silence, their hearts heavy but their minds made up. Over the next 2 weeks, Ngozi refused to speak to them properly. She answered in one word. She ignored their greetings. When the shopping for school items began, she deliberately picked the ugliest things. "Are you happy now?" she said bitterly, holding up a plain white bedsheet. "Making me suffer like a village girl." Mrs. Adekunle said nothing, but her eyes were red. The school they chose was called Royal Academy, deep in Ogun State. It was known throughout Nigeria for one thing: discipline. And the name everyone whispered about was Matron Okonkwo, a woman who, according to parents, didn't play. That woman will reset your child's brain. One parent had told Chief Adekunle, "She's tough but effective." On the day of departure, the house was tense. Ngozi packed her boxes with angry movements, throwing things inside carelessly. "Why so many buckets?" she complained. "Am I going to prison?" Nobody answered. At the school gate, Ngozi stepped out of Mercedes and froze. The compound was massive but plain. No fancy flowers. No colorful paint. Just order and structure. Students moved in straight lines, their uniforms spotless, their faces serious. Mrs. Adekunle hugged her daughter tightly. "Please try to change." Ngozi pulled away. "You people will regret this." Chief Adekunle nodded slowly. "Maybe, but one day you'll thank us." They drove away, and Ngozi stood there alone, watching the big city car disappear. Ahead of her was a new world, one that would not bend for her. Matron Okonkwo was not what Ngozi expected. She wasn't loud or aggressive. She didn't shout, but when she spoke, even the walls seemed to listen. She was a tall, dark-skinned woman in her 50s, wearing a simple dress and head tie. Her face was calm, but her eyes saw everything. "Carry your box," she said to Ngozi, not even turning around as she walked. Ngozi struggled with a heavy box, sweating and frustrated. At home, the driver would have carried it. Here, nobody helped. They should have given us trolley now," Ngozi muttered. Matron Okonkwo stopped walking. She turned slowly and looked at Ngozi, not angry, just watching. "What did you say?" Ngozi swallowed. "Nothing, Ma." "Good, because this is not a hotel. This is Royal Academy." They reached the dormitory, a long building with rows of beds, each one perfectly made. The smell of Izal disinfectant filled the air. Everything was arranged with military precision. Matron Okonkwo pointed to a bed near the entrance. "That one is yours." "Why near the door?" Ngozi asked. "So you'll learn to wake up early when the bell rings." Matron Okonkwo said simply. Ngozi wanted to argue, but something in the woman's eyes stopped her. "Change your clothes. Assembly is in 15 minutes. 15 minutes? At home. Ngozi took an hour just to choose an outfit. She panicked, throwing her box open and scattering clothes everywhere. A girl nearby whispered, "Better hurry. Matron doesn't joke. Oh, she's not my matron." Ngozi snapped. The girl just smiled. "You will learn." Assembly was torture. Everyone stood perfectly still, hands by their sides. No talking, no movement. When Matron Okonkwo walked past, even the senior students straightened up. Ngozi's legs ached. Her back hurt. She wasn't used to standing for so long. That night, instead of rest, a bell rang for prep time. 2 hours of silent studying. Ngozi stared at her book, confused and exhausted. At home, she'd be watching Netflix now. The real shock came the next morning. At 5 a.m., a loud bell rang. Girls jumped out of bed immediately, grabbing buckets and brooms. "Ngozi, it's time to sweep," a prefect said. Ngozi laughed. "Me? Sweep? You people are joking." "I'm not joking. It's your duty." "I don't sweep," Ngozi said, folding her arms. 5 minutes later, she was standing in front of Matron Okonkwo's office. "Why didn't you sweep?" Matron Okonkwo asked calmly. "Because I don't do that Ngozi replied. You will start today. She was punished. Extra cleaning duties, no breakfast, manual labor under the hot sun. By afternoon, Ngozi's hands were sore. Her pride was wounded and her anger was boiling. That night, she cried quietly in bed, hiding her face so others wouldn't see. She missed her room. She missed comfort. She missed being treated like she was special. But nobody cared here. Here, she was just another student. Weeks passed like months. Ngozi tried everything. Attitude, insults, refusal. Nothing worked. Every act of defiance brought swift, calm punishment. Matron Okonkwo never shouted, never got emotional. She just applied consequences. One day, Ngozi snapped at a junior girl who was using her water tap. Move. Can't you see I'm here? The girl started crying. Within minutes, Matron Okonkwo appeared. Apologize. No, she was being slow. Apologize now. I won't. Ngozi spent 3 hours kneeling under the afternoon sun, then swept the entire compound, then missed lunch. Other students watched, some sympathetic, others relieved it wasn't them. But something strange happened during that punishment. As Ngozi knelt there, sweating and angry, she noticed Matron Okonkwo watching from a distance, not with satisfaction or cruelty, with something else. Concern? Care? Ngozi pushed the thought away. But slowly, very slowly, something began to shift. She learned to wake up at 5 a.m. She learned to make her bed with hospital corners. She learned to wash her own clothes, her hands raw from scrubbing. One evening, after completing her duties without complaint, Matron Okonkwo stopped her. You're improving, she said simply. Ngozi felt tears sting her eyes. Nobody had praised her in months. Thank you, Ma, she whispered. That night, lying in bed, Ngozi realized something painful. She had been wrong. About everything. But change isn't smooth. Some days she slipped back into old habits. Each time, discipline followed. Each time, she learned a little more. When she fell sick with malaria, burning with fever, Matron Okonkwo personally brought her food and medicine. Eat this, she said gently, sitting beside the bed. Ngozi looked at her, confused. You care about me? Matron Okonkwo smiled faintly. Discipline without love is wickedness. I correct you because I care. Tears rolled down Ngozi's cheeks. That day, something inside her broke open, and something better began to grow. By her second term, Ngozi was a different person. Not perfect, but trying. The sharp edge in her voice had softened. She helped junior students with their prep. She volunteered for extra duties. When conflict arose, others called her to help resolve them. One evening, a junior student named Kayamika sat crying on Ngozi's bed. I'm too stupid to pass, she sobbed. Ngozi remembered saying those exact words once. In frustration, she put her arm around the girl. Listen to me. You're not stupid. You just need to keep trying. Her academics improved too, not because she suddenly became brilliant, but because she became consistent. She studied even when tired. She asked questions without shame. During prize-giving day, her name was called for Most Improved Student and Leadership. As she walked to collect the award, her eyes found Matron Okonkwo in the crowd. The woman nodded once, and Ngozi felt her chest tighten with emotion. After the ceremony, Matron Okonkwo pulled her aside. You see, hard work speaks for itself. Thank you, Ma, for everything. Don't thank me. Thank yourself for choosing to change. That night, Ngozi wrote a long letter to her parents, apologizing for her past behavior and thanking them for not giving up on her. When Mrs. Adekunle read it, she wept. Chief Adekunle read it twice, then carefully folded it and kept in his drawer like a precious document. Years later, after university, Ngozi returned to Royal Academy, not as a student, but as a guest speaker. She stood at the same gate where she once felt so angry and afraid, and she smiled. Matron Okonkwo, older now but still strong, walked toward her. You came back, Matron Okonkwo said. I had to, Ngozi replied. You changed my life. Matron Okonkwo shook her head. No, you chose to change. I just showed you the path. That evening, Ngozi addressed the students in the assembly hall. "I wasn't always like this," she began, her voice steady. "I was spoiled, rude, and lazy. I thought respect was something people owed me just because my parents had money. I was wrong." The hall was silent. This place broke me down and built me up again. It was painful, but it saved me. Because the truth is simple. Nobody is beyond change. Nobody is too spoiled to learn. Sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that save us. When she finished, the hall erupted in applause. As she walked away, Ngozi felt something she'd never felt before. Not the loud, empty pride of her youth, but a deep, quiet peace that came from knowing she had become someone worth being. From a spoiled Lagos girl to a woman of character. From shame to honor. From noise to purpose. Her story spread across schools, shared by parents and teachers as proof that change is possible. And somewhere in that hall, a stubborn child listened and thought, maybe I can change too. If you found this story inspiring, please subscribe to our channel. These stories deserve to be shared, because somewhere out there, a parent is struggling with a difficult child, wondering if change is possible. Somewhere, a young person is trapped in pride and doesn't know the way out. Ngozi's story is a reminder that transformation is never easy, but it's always possible. Character can be built. Discipline, when applied with love, can redirect a life heading toward destruction. And sometimes the hardest decisions, the ones that make us cry at night and doubt ourselves, are the very decisions that save the people we love most. Thank you for watching. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Because remember, no one is beyond redemption, and sometimes the most powerful intervention is the one that comes wrapped in tough love.